in AI-driven solutions to real-world societal challenges has bridged the gap between cutting-edge algorithms and their practical applications, making a meaningful difference in the field. What sets Dr. Viparthi apart is his rare ability to combine technical rigor with an empathetic understanding of human behavior. His research is not just about building smarter systems, but about making technology more human, ensuring that the solutions he creates truly serve the needs of society. His contributions continue to shape how machines perceive and respond to human emotions, transforming the relationship between humans and technology. Today, we are privileged to have such a thought leader with us. Dr. Viparthi's keynote address, titled Integrating Micro-Emotion Recognition with Mental Health Estimation for Improved Well-Being, promises to be both insightful and impactful. His work on micro-emotion recognition, capturing subtle, involuntary facial expressions that can reveal hidden emotion states, marks a significant step forward in mental health monitoring. By combining this technology with effective neural architectures, Dr. Viparthi's research is helping us better understand and address mental health issues, leading to improved well-being for individuals. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Santosh Kumar Viparthi to the stage as he shares his valuable insights with us. Sir, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Aditi. Good afternoon, everybody. Is my voice is audible? Is my voice is audible? Yes, sir. Do we require mic? Not required, right? Yes. Okay, guys. Good afternoon, everybody. So, as I introduced myself, Dr. Santosh Kumar Tripathi, heading School of AI&D at IIT Roopur. So today we will go to have some discussion on integrating micro emotion recognition with mental health estimation for improved well-being. So here our objective here is by seeing a face, how we can able to estimate some changes are going to be happening in our brain. That is the first part. Second part is by looking after our face, can we estimate any BP? Can we estimate any some sort of disorders? Is there any feasibility solutions that exist or not? If so, how to do it? These are the things we would like to have a discussion today. So, before going to discuss more in detail, I want to hear from you. Can you have a look into these particular emotions and say, by looking after the faces or the pictures, is it evident, right? What the particular person is having an emotion on their face, am I right? By looking up the face, we can simply say whether the person is happy or whether the person is sad, surprised, and so on. Am I right? Okay. Now the question comes here is that emotion is true emotion? Can it be called as a genuine emotion or not? We cannot give a guarantee. The reason is such type of emotions are called macro level emotions. That means the entire emotions are going to be controlled through our brain functionality. Am I right? Now there is a time frame. You are listening something and you are reacting, and your reaction I could able to see on your face. Am I right? So that means there is a time transition, enough amount of time where your brain is trying to take it before exhibiting that particular thing on your face. Because a human intelligence is involved to exhibit what type of emotion you would like to express. But here the question becomes here is that whether it be a true emotion or a fake emotion. That will be the first observation. Similarly, you can see that why this is so important. Now, the human emotions are, is it a trained one? By looking after these faces, what is your quick observation? There are four sportswomen are there here, a sportsman. Everybody is exhibiting their own emotions. Am I right? But the beauty here is that if you can able to see, these are all the sports persons are blind from the birth. Are you getting now? Now you tell me, the person who never has seen how a person like you and me will exhibit the happiness on our face. Similarly, the blind person never has seen how the sadness can be, how they can able to cry, right? They never see, but their happy moments and their happy expressions are as same as ours. Am I right? How it can be possible? How it can be possible? Is it a real or is it a fake? Is it a real? But they are blind from birth. They never seen any such type of scenarios in nature. But how they could able to behave the as same as us? I hope they are getting now, right? With this is another part of emotions are these human emotions are in our brain the time we have born. This is not a trained one, it is already in it. I hope you are getting now, right? Where these particular emotions can be get fake, the people like you and me can make it fake because we have extra intelligence, because we can able to see something. The time we will see, then we will try to think to fake it if it is required, right? That is where these particular emotions are going to play and will have a direct relation with our brain functionality. Now, why it is so important nowadays? Now you can have a quick look into it. Now, especially the COVID, post-COVID and during the COVID, this research on the emotions have gained a lot of attention. It was there earlier as well. Earlier is only for entertainment purposes. But later on, this emotion recognition has come into the commercialization aspects. Why? You can have a visual. In the e-learning, in the online COVID system, many people have started using the computers through internet, right? Now, whatever the product you are trying to buy or whatever product you are liking it also can be monitored through your human facial emotions. At the same time, gaming platform, it is another area where a lot of commercializations are happening. Then police testimony, I am going to discuss this in a minute. Medical diagnosis. Now the pain estimation. This is another area where the researchers are still specifically can be focused. Third one is police testimony. How it can be useful. Before going to discuss about the police testimony, I will go to show you one video in some time. Then we will come back to the police testimony. Now this is my personal favorite area where classroom monitoring. Now everybody is going to talking about the mental health, am I right? Especially you are the NITians and IITians. Now you might be very much clear that you are already stressed out in your studies, preparation for the IIT JEE, am I right? From 5th standard onwards, you might be in the training, am I right? So how much of the stress you might be faced, your parents may aware, may not aware. Similarly, these particular things are going to be applied for the kindergarten students. The kids where they could not able to express their stress levels can be monitored through this human emotion recognition. So this is another area where the people are working, but this is not actually the true emotion. This is a simple facial emotion, but mental disorder has to be the add to study area. And the pain relation is another area where the people researchers are working, and depression and group behavior. Now the group behavior is another area where this conventional or traditional emotion recognition won't work. For example, scene estimation. Now I am delivering a talk, you are listening. Now the question comes, the camera is towards you. There might be a camera towards you. So whenever there is a algorithm which is focusing a speaker centric, there is a speaker centric emotion recognition. But whereas camera is towards you, the speaker is talking something. But audience centric, how the audience are getting reacted. Now, how the audience are getting reacted to the speech. Now, these are all the things will going to be comes under the group behavior analysis. Whether the given a scenario, whether the group of people are happy or sad or surprised or what, or shocking or depending upon the scenario. So this is another area where the multiple challenges will be there. You might be seeing any of the images here. The challenges are so simple because the background is very simple and straightforward out of these things. But this is a dynamic background because there is a classroom. I hope you're clear. Now, in these areas, detecting a human emotion is one aspect. Second aspect is to taking care about the background scenarios. If the background scenarios are simple and straightforward, then your algorithm model performance can be higher. But whenever the background scenario changes, then there will be challenges in the model performance. That's why we need to consider about the background scenarios as well before developing the algorithm. Now, what are all the common challenges may come while we are talking about the facial emotions? You may ask a question. Only the facial emotions are required? No. Other than facial emotions, there are other modalities also required. Like I am speaking. I might be excited. I might be happy. Those things can also be correlated with my audio modalities. So now, image or video modality, audio modality, and text modality. Whenever you are trying to handling about three different modalities together and trying to take a decision, that is called multimodal. The best example for the multimodal is your image capturing. You might be here. This is one of the basic multimodal algorithms. So the multimodal for the human emotions are yet to address. As the recent advancement of the large language models, now this multimodal also have gained a lot of attention. We will going to discuss those things later. Now coming to the unimodal, what are all the challenges will be there? Now you can have a quick look. There will be multi-views, illumination changes, occlusions, expression wide, and expression the artifacts and the blur. Now there is a word called expression in wide because illumination is very quite common. Depending upon the light source, the image clarity will be there. So this is very quite common problem and it will be there in any application. It's not only for the emotion. Blurriness is again a quite common problem for any data acquisition system, right? But there is a special word called wide. Emotion in wide, that is one particular part need to be addressed. Second important factor, occlusion. So where I have already covered the specs, it is an occluded one. COVID situation, mask, occluded one. Am I right? But this a while is a scenario is nothing but your backgrounds are completely dynamic. That means the data which we are collecting for a subject, in this particular terminology we will go to call a human as a subject. I hope you're clear, right? So subject. So the subject where you are trying to collect the data in a laboratory environment, or in an auditorium, or the person while he is walking on the natural road, or in any park. So that means the backgrounds are completely dynamic. There will be no consistent backgrounds will be there from subject to subject. Whenever you are considering such type of scenarios, that is called wide scenarios. So you can able to see here expression in wide where the backgrounds are completely different from subject to subject. I hope you're clear, right? This is what we actually need in the real world scenarios. Now you have surveillance cameras everywhere. The students are walking. Now, it is not guaranteed that every time they have to walk only in this auditorium in the classroom. They can also walk in the road while going to hostels and such, right? In those scenarios, how you can able to handle that is called expression in while. Now, this is my one of the favorite thing. For a while, I will not going to speak anything. I want you to observe and tell me what changes you have observed. Now, video is already started. I want you to see and tell me what all the changes are happening. Would you able to see any changes as so far? Any changes? Observe more. Little more observe. Little bit change. Still you observe. Are you getting now? Now tell me. I'll take a pause here for a while. I'll take a pause here. Can you please tell me what is your observation about this particular video?
A little bit happy.
A little bit happy. Okay. Any other? Any other?
Tense. Tense.
Okay. Any other? Any other?
Focused.
Focused. Okay. By the way, before going to come to a conclusion whether it's a happy or sad or surprised or tense or anything, focused. You have seen the previous macro level images where the happy tag is there, sad tag is there. You have already seen, right? whenever you are focused on here, there will be lot many challenges you can able to see because there is no change. Could you able to see any more changes there? The way if I ask you to smile, you will definitely will smile, right? If I ask you to give some different specific expression, definitely you will do it because you are reacting as per my question because you hear my question, then you are acting according to the question. Am I right? That is what called the macro level emotion. That means you knew what you are doing it. You knew whatever you are trying to do it. As I said, testimony, police testimony. Whenever this interrogation is happening with the criminal, criminal knew what type of the crime he has committed. Alright, right? So whenever during the interrogation, he will take a pause before reacting it. So if he will go to lie by making a smile face on it, that is called macro level. Because there is a time frame where a person can able to change their actual emotion into a fake emotion. But these are all the emotions that are directly connected to our brain function. This is called micro emotions. So these emotions are going to be active for 1 upon 30th second only. Let's consider for a second we have a 30 frames. Nowadays we have a 120 frames camera size. What is also there? You consider as a basic AI model, 30 frames per second is, let's consider. So your emotion, whether it's a happy or surprise or sad or anything, will be exhibit for 1 upon 30th second. That means how many frames it could be. Out of 30 frames, the entire emotion might be there in a single frame or at most in 2 frames only. I hope it clear. So the time you heard about the question, before you faking it, your brain knew that what the question is. Right? At that particular instant, whatever the emotions will be there, that will be reflected on our face, even though I will not act as a neutral. That is what called the micro level emotions. So micro level emotions are the emotions which are true. You are not going to get a time to fake it. Second observation. As you are able to see it here, as I said, 30 frames per a second. Within the 30 frames, there might be in a single frame, the emotion might be there. That means your processing is no more on an images. Now your processing is on a time series data, that is a video. So whenever we are moving from macro level emotion to the micro level emotions, where you would like to know about the genuinity about the emotion, then you have to convert from image processing to video processing. So few more observations I would like to edit here for your easy reference. Now this is another subject. You can able to see she looks smile, but actually she is not smiling because that is a very common neutral space she is trying to maintain. But there are some variations you can able to clearly observe within the minute variations in the eye regions. Now whatever the video I have shown you earlier, this is a small snippet of the particular video. Now can you please tag what type of emotion this particular subject is having. Rather than an image, now it is a video clip converted into frames. So can anybody can tell me what emotion the subject is having? Happy at the end. At the end. From the first to n-1. Neutral. Second frame. Second frame. As similar as first. Third plane. Again as similar as first and two. Am I right or wrong? I am not telling anything. You can able to see it. So if you might be observe this frame, this frame, this frame. If you can observe three, all three look same. If you can take it as a zoom, then verify there might be many micro level variation will be there. But whereas in the fourth frame, there is a minute variation there on the lips and the nose part. There is a very small variations are there. I hope you are ready now. Now observe this. Having a eye, we could not able to catching the variations on the given sequence of the frames. I hope you are clear. This is what the challenge of the genuine emotion recognition, that is called micro emotion recognition. That means there will be very micro level variations will be there on the face. Where that variations will be, whether it will be the cheeks, whether it will be the nose region, whether it will be the eyebrow region, micro level will be there. Not at the emotion which I have seen in the first slide. I hope they are clear. Now, that actual challenge of developing an algorithm on such type of a data. Third observation. So if this is too challenging, how the models might be developed? So in the literature, just I'm starting from the beginning. So in the literature, they used to get the apex frame. What is in the apex frame? As you might be seeing here, first frame, the conversation started, subject might not have any emotion. During the interrogation, the subject might not have anything, it is very neutral. Time started. Slowly, whenever there is a conversation that happening, there might be an emotion connected to your brain activity. Later on, the emotion will begin direct. That means there is an offset frame where no emotions are there, just conversation got started. There is an apex frame where the emotion might be peak because the person he knew he made the crime, so he knew it. By the time he is going to convert his actual action into fake actions, there will be a time frame where the peak emotions into normal emotion. That is offset frame, apex frame, and onset. I hope you clear. Now in the literature, the apex frame has been captured, then applied the simple deep learning algorithms or AI algorithms to solve the solutions in the literature. So I actually I could teach the apex frame and pass to one of the CNN architecture. I hope you might be know about the CNN architecture, right? Deep learning algorithms. So just you can pass that. The previous one is like a video processing. Now it is converted into image processing. Whether it can be useful or not, that is a secondary issue. But this is the initial way of solving the problem. Okay. Coming to the next one, this is one of the very important aspect for model development or model training. Okay, tell me one thing. Let's assume I have given you one data of 1000 samples. I'll ask you to develop a solution. Initially, you applied the 70-30 ratio, that is basic data division. I think you might be done machine learning and deep learning, right? So 70-30 data division strategy might be applied. You might be got some X percentage of the accuracy. Okay. Now you tell me the algorithm is remains same. Now I will change the data division from 60-40. Will you give me the same accuracy of X percent? I will do the 90-10. Now it can be same or it can be better. Better. So okay. Now you tell me. I have given you the data. That is what the first one. Okay, let me zoom it out. I hope this is very much visible to you, I guess. Okay, can you have a look into this and tell me what is your common observation between these two? The left side is my training data and right side is my testing data. The model is remain same. The deep learning algorithm, X algorithm, Y algorithm doesn't matter. Deep learning algorithm is remain same. Now I am trying to train my model on such type of data division. Tell me what is your observation? What about the relations are there between the training set and testing set? Any observation? 100% accurate.
Both are in training.
No, this is a training set and this is a testing set. Training data and testing data I have divided. So model is going to train the training data, but it is going to test with the test data. What you have observed in this particular similarities between the training set and the testing set? Could you able to see any similarities? So if you might be observed here, see here is subject. This subject is same or different? Same. The way she might be smile, happy, sad, while using in the training, the similar subject has been used in the testing as well, right? Okay. Now you see the second case. Middle one. Focus on the middle one. Tell me what is your observation as compared to the first one. This is the first one. This is the second one. What is your observation? The subjects which are used in the training were not present in the testing. Why it is important? Let's have one more look. The third one is cross domain, cross data. Now you see. The way I will be happy, exhibit the happiness, sadness, sorrowness, or neutral anything. Whenever my deep learning model would be able to see my face, it will go to give me the minimum guaranteed performance. Am I right? Irrespective of the emotion, as my visual features will be already seen in the training. Whenever you are going to test with my face only, it will going to give you the minimum guaranteed result. Because the model is already biased to me. Now, how you can able to develop your model to be unbiased to that data similarities in the training set and the testing set. To do that, there is a second strategy that is called subject independent. If my data is there in the training, my data should not be there in the testing. Why? Here, subject is not important. Subject's emotion is important. Am I right? So, here I would like to know about the emotions of a particular person. No need to be the same person should be there in the training and testing. That is the reason. Person independent is better. Third one is when you see this, see the bases which are used in the training set and testing set. Completely different. I hope you clear. Two different set of data. One data set is completely with RGB, another one is completely grayscale. So there is no similarity. The training data which is used in this case, the training set will be not at all present in the test. That's called cross data evaluation. But tell me one thing. While going through this, what are the advantages which are going to come across to the model performance? Out of these three, where the model performance will be higher? This case, middle one or top? Where the model performance will be higher? Top one? Top one?
Yes, sir.
Where the model will be robust? One is performance of the model higher. If the model is getting a higher performance, can we call this a robust model? Okay, what we can able to define about the robustness? The robustness is where the model performance is higher in the unseen environment. Am I right? Whenever the model would tested on the unseen data, still it has to perform the better. That means your model should have the generalizability. Am I right? So, in order to inject the generalizability in this particular case of the emotion recognition, these three data division strategies were there in the literature. So, you can apply any of the algorithm. In the previous case, the first case, your model performance might be 90%. Definitely in the independent, the performance might be lesser for the same model because here the training is having more, training and testing is having different challenges. Third one will be even more challenging, performance will be tricky. But the advantage here is that your model will be too much robust because the type of the training is happening, the type of the challenges which is introduced in the training data will be completely different than the. I hope it's clear. So this is a very basic observation for the emotion part where it is very much required for us to know it before checking about the results. Now let's have a quick look into it. This is one of the basic algorithm for the human emotion recognition architecture. Let me choose again. So this is one of the shallower architectures, a tiny architectures you can call in the field of human emotion recognition. For the macro level human emotion recognition, not the micro. So you can be observed here in the deep learning architectures, the given input sample has been passed to the one block that is called hybrid block. Now here you might be seeing about the hybrid block. There are convolution operations are performed in a combination. Let's have a quick look into it. There is a green color convolution that's called 7x7. I hope you know the convolution CNN, right? Convolution neural network. So upon a given input sample, first you perform 7x7 convolution. In parallel, you apply the 3x3. What are the results you might be got it? You make the addition of the responses. Then again you perform convolution of 5x5 and 1x1. Now think about logical architectural design here. From a given input sample, first you apply the 7x7 convolution operation. What is particular 7x7 does? Any idea? Let me give you a simple example. This is our face, right? We have an eyebrow region. We have some thickness of the eyebrows. What type of the information which is present above the eyebrow and below the eyebrow? Above the eyebrow, what are the informations we have? Forehead, skin, which is having a different texture, color than the eyebrows, am I right? Below the eyebrow, what is that? Eyelids. Again, it is having a different color and texture as compared to the eyebrow region. Am I right now? Now you tell me, whenever you are applying a small kernel size called 3 cross 3, let's assume that 3 cross 3 is going to be fit within the region of the eyebrow. So it is going to give you the uniform information within the eyebrow region only, because eyebrows are black. But in the same position, if you would like to apply the larger scale kernel size, like maybe 5 cross 5 or 7 cross 7, what are the advantages? While your kernel will going to be sit in the eyebrow region, either the upper skin or the lower skin can be covered. So whenever you are applying the larger scale mask, larger kernel size, there are high chances of getting the true edges. I hope you are getting now. That means wherever the major changes are there, these all major changes can be captured in the larger scale kernels. So that could be the motivation of using this particular 7 cross 7 and 3 cross 3 in the first layer. Now once you got the response of the 7 cross 7 3 cross 3, you combined it. Again you perform two parallel channels, that's called 5 cross 1 1 cross 1. Now you make an image in the same way. 5 cross 1 and 1 cross 1. What was the advantage of using the 1 cross 1 in the second stage rather than using in the first stage? So the advantage of using the 1 cross 1 convolution is going to be act as a point processing algorithm. I hope you might be know about the point processing, pixel to pixel. Either it is going to be act as an enhancement of the image, or it can be worked as a degradation of the image. Intensity variations only, depending upon the value of the constant, right? So now, as and when I go deeper, I need to preserve the feature. That is what our objective for the human emotion, because we have a very limited information is presenting on the face. It is not like a natural image. Where the natural image, or if you can consider what is auditorium, there are some chairs are there, arc is there, and different color combination of the texture information present. But where in the face, we have very limited part: skin, eyes, nose, and nostrils. Am I right? So within the limited part, what type of an architecture we need to design? That is one of the biggest challenging aspects. That is first observation. Second observation. Tell me one thing: is a deep architectures are better, or shallow architectures are better, or moderate architecture is better for any application? You might be heard about the VG16, 19, ResNet, GoogleNet. I hope these are all architectures you might be here. ResNet, GoogleNet, right? VG16. These are all architectures are deeper in layer, because they have 16 layers, 51 layers, 105 layers, and so on. So from here, the another observation is that all deep architectures might be not at all suited to every application. The best example here is our faces. So there is a need of developing a shallow architecture. Now you can have a quick look into it. This could be another observation. Have a detailed look into it. The first one is my input image. I have performed some convolution of 3 cross 3. Sequentially, I have repeated the second convolution. Again, sequentially, I have repeated the third convolution. I hope you are clear. The CNN algorithm, what are the architecture? It is a sequential, repeated, and deeper. You tell me what is your observation outcome of these three responses. Could you able to see the slide? First convolution on the raw image. Second convoluted response on the first convoluted response. Third convolution response upon the second convoluted response. I hope you are clear. Imagine I am applying the fourth convolution. What would happen? What would happen? As compared to this, did you saw any of the loss of information? Did you saw? Coming to the third to second, did you see any loss of information? Am I right now? Imagine the fourth time, what would happen? Uniform information like a black spots will be there wherever the eyes and nose and eyebrow information. You can able to see there is a forehead, there is a wrinkles, right? These wrinkles are there in the first convolution, it is not there in the second. Third one is almost nullified, and so on. I hope it's clear. That means whenever we are applying any of the CNN algorithms on a sensitive data like this, especially for the biometric application like a face, fingerprint, thumbprint, palm print, footprint, and anything. Because here we have very limited and sensitive data is there. Face also very limited and sensitive data is there. In such type of sensitive data, if you are dumping your deeper architectures on it, that too in a sequential fashion. We assume that the model is going to learn better, but actually it is going to lose all important data in the learning process, and at the end it is going to end up with a model failure. I hope you are getting now. Now this will be the another question we can think about it, how to design the architecture now for a given application. Shall we use a blindly any existing architecture, or do we need to design any specific architecture which can able to solve my problem? With that particular assumption, there is another algorithm which is introduced. I am going to show the observations of this in a while after discussing about the tables. Now as you observe here, from a given input, once you apply this 3 cross 6 convolution and 7 cross 7 convolution, just to try to observe on the brick part. 3 cross 3 and 7 cross 7 both will try to give you the edges only. Non-uniform information will try to capture. Whenever you are combining or adding the two variations together, what is going to happen? Wherever the common modalities are there, that will be highlighted. Wherever the uniformity is there, that will be still uniform. Am I right? So this is what actually we are able to observe here. Whenever you are going to combine here, the most variables or varied information they are presenting on the face is going to be captured. In the latter stage, you apply the 1 cross 1. The reason here is, let's assume you are applying the second convolution like this. There may be a chance of losing the information. There may be a chance, right? Because you are applying the second convolution on the first convoluted response. That is the reason. Let's try to use the 1 cross 1. So whenever you are applying the 1 cross 1 convolution, it will not go to disturb any of the edges. It will go to disturb the intensity level only. Either the information can be brighter or it will be darker, but edges will be remain same. So if you can able to see this particular architecture, the same block is repeated 3 times. This process is called stacking. One module that called hybrid block is introduced and the same block has repeated 2 times. You can ask a question, why not 2, why not 4, why not 5, why not 6, or why not 1? That we can able to see with ablation studies. As I said, for a sales to data, whenever you are like designing an architecture, one of the challenging parts, second point is whether to choose a deeper architecture or shallow architecture, that is also important. Now you can able to see it. Once the model got trained, this is how the results will be. So whenever you are going to complete the first block, this is a clear to where the edges will be there. These edges are passed because of this combination of the 1 plus 1 5 plus 1. Now you may can imagine, what if the first 1 plus 1 might be applied in the beginning rather than in the second stage? I want you to answer this. Let's assume this 1 plus 1 I have applied in the second stage. I want to extend the convolutions of 1 plus 1 here, 3 plus 3 here. क्या होगा? What will happen? Upon a raw image, you are applying 1 plus 1. There is no edges. Same information is passed. Upon that, you are applying the second convolution. So whenever you are repeating a convolution on the first convoluted response, there is a chance of losing an information. Am I right? You need to prevent that loss of information. That is what our objective is. So in order to do that, this particular designing strategy need to be applied. Now there will be another interesting problem as we go forward. Dynamic imaging. Now the previous one is called the macro emotion recognition. Now coming to the micro emotion. So in the micro emotion, that is called true emotions, as I said, right? Now, how we can able to design an algorithm for a true emotion recognition? So there is an algorithm called dynamic imaging, which is inspired from the action recognition algorithms, where you can able to see this is a sequence of frames. This is the resultant. That means dynamic imaging is nothing but trying to capture the variations in each and every frame, collectively collect it and put it in a single frame. That means the variations in a video need to be captured and kept in a single frame is called dynamic imaging. So once the dynamic imaging is got, this is the another CNN algorithm as you can able to see. I want you to observe this. How many of you know about the resonate? Resonate. Have you studied anybody? Resonate? Studied here? Okay. Now you observe what are the input in again. These are all popular algorithms. The first convolution layers will be either 32 or 64. Then it will be increased to 128, 256, 512, and 1024, and so on. Am I right? Now tell me one thing. You have BTech students. You might be having BTech group, right? BTech project. How many people will be there? 3 students or 4 students? Let's assume 4 students, right? Tell me out of 4, how many will work seriously to complete the project? At most 2, that is very difficult, but 1. 1 is guaranteed because the grade to chahiye na. Am I right? But what I will do, let me split these all 4 candidates into 4 modules. Rather than giving a single module, I want to split the 4 students into to handle 4 different modules. क्या होगा? Everybody has to complete their module to get the grade. Am I right? Right or wrong? So, and at the end, what is going to happen? The project will go to successfully completed. That is one of the basic assumptions. Now let's try to have a look. In the deep learning, there is one small drawback is there. Whenever we are using k number of filters, doesn't mean that k out of k will going to be learned. There will be some filter coefficients will actually play a dominant role. Rest of the filters may be rigid to learn. That is where there is a concept called dropout came into the picture. Am I right? So what is the need of blindly depending upon the dropout? Can't we able to develop our own architecture in such a way let the each and every conversion operation can be learned? If you want to use dropout, you can use it. But make your model to be more flexible in such a way the features can be learned. With that assumption, there is an architecture here, you can able to see it here. Rather than applying the 64 convolutions on a given input sample, split the 64 convolution operations into 4 parallel streams. So as you can able to see, first parallel stream 16, 16, 16, 16. So the 64 convolution operations are splitted into 4 parallel stream mini size convolution operations. I hope you are clear. So observe this. This is one of the very tiny CNN algorithm. We get first convolution only 3 convolutions. For first stream. Second stream is literally again 3 convolutions and so on. But what is the beauty here? Try to observe here. First convolution, after pulling, second time repetition, second pulling, third time convolution is repeated. Am I right? Now you see the second stream, what is actually happening? In the second stream, the first convoluted responses are going to be added after the second convoluted response. I hope you are clear. I hope this is clear, right? That means you are trying to add the previous parallel stream responses in the second stream. What is the advantage of it? Let's have a quick look at it. I think with this you can get clear. Let's assume this is my input image. Already image is very sensitive. This is my first parallel stream convoluted response. As I already said, whether the input data is very sensitive, your model designing will be very challenging. So now in the first parallel stream, this is my 16 convoluted responses after training. This is my second parallel stream, 16 convoluted response, because these 2 parallel streams are independent in nature. First parallel streams are not dependent upon the second. So this is my first response, and this is my second response. Whenever I am going to combining these 2, either in the second stream, now you try to observe here. In the first parallel stream, this convolution mask is rigid to learn any feature, but that information is preserved in the second parallel stream. Whenever I am adding these 2, I got the features in the second convoluted response. I hope you are getting now. Similarly, you can observe here the first convolution response, second row, first column is rigid to learn features, but the features is captured here, so I got the final result. I hope it clear. So in that the model development, one thing needs to be considered and assured that as and when you go deeper, you should preserve the visual features so that your model can able to learn better. If you ignore this minor part, simply blindly applying the convolution operations on 64, 32, 128 doesn't guarantee that your model will going to be learned. I hope you are clear on this. So this is the first paper in the deep learning for the micro emotion recognition applications. In the field of micro emotion recognition, this is the first deep learning paper. Before that, there are many conventional mechanisms are there, but this is the first in its nature of developing a CNN algorithm. Any more questions so far? Just I'm continuing. So anybody have any questions, please ask. Feel free to ask. Let's move forward. Now you can able to observe one of the interesting factor here. These are the popular algorithm which is 1619 resistant here, right? But if you can able to, these are some of the data sets and this is my accuracy. If you can able to see this which is 16 and the 19, could able to get only 36% accuracy, whereas the proposed algorithm something called 80% of the accuracy. What could be the logic of getting this 30% of accuracy? Can anybody can guess it? There are two statements I said. One is deep architectures will fail. Shallow architectures might be required. These are two statements I said, right? But if the deep architectures are failing, how these results we got it? Any guesses? So these all VGs 1619 are sequential and deep architectures. Whenever we have trained on it, we got the accuracy of 1%, less than 1%. As and when we go deeper, what was the reason for the model is not able to get the performance? Layer-wise visualization, then we can able to analyze, okay, as and when the model goes deeper, information is getting lost, so model is not getting learned anymore. Because while you are trying to train your model from the scratch. Now, how to handle such type of scenarios? The best approach is apply the transfer learning. Rather than taking the models and training from the scratch, take the models with the weights and fine tune it. Again, a second question may come. As in the beginning I said, deep architectures will fail, right? But here, fine tuning from VG 16 and 19 could able to give some results. Why? The reason is the VGC 16 and 19 were trained on the dataset called imaginary dataset. Where in the imaginary dataset, faces are there as a one of the class. So imaginary dataset is a very complex in nature, and VGC 16 was trained enough to know the each and every category of the classes. So where whenever they are able to see the faces here, model could able to recognize there is a face. But whenever you are trying to train it from the scratch, these models could not able to do that. That is what the difference of advantage of using this transfer learning concepts here. That is the reason this after applying transfer learning and fine tuning it, these are the results. But this is clearly evident that existing models will not blindly can be used here. There is a need of developing our own algorithms as in fact it is required. This is for again for another data set. These all data sets are publicly available. If anybody interested, you can verify my website where you can able to get all the details. Yeah. Now you can see this. These are the different layers here and the corresponding parameters. Now you can have a look. So the existing algorithms are 60 layers, 90 layers, and so on. And the parameters are 138 million parameters, where the proposed model is having only 1.4 million parameters. Very tiny in nature. Of course, it can be further reduced drastically, but as of now, this will be one of the tiny algorithm here. Now, another important question may come here. One way I am talking about deep architectures are not good. Another way I am talking about shallow architectures might be better. The question again comes to in our mind that what type of an architecture I need to design? Do I need to design a sequential architecture? Do I need to design the parallel architecture? What? As and whenever we are going to get such type of a doubt, there is an algorithm which exists that is called NAS, Neural Architectural Search, where the NAS itself is an algorithm. It will produce a one CNN architecture to you. Now, the NAS is a one which is going to give you a CNN architecture, whether it is a shallow or deeper, whether the convolution operations are 1x1 or 3x3, 5x4 or 7x7, whatever it may be. Depending upon the nature of the input data, the algorithm itself is going to find architecture and it is going to produce. So this is the first architecture, this is the first algorithm in the micro emotion recognition to design one NAS algorithm where architecture can be produced. So in consideration of the time limits, I am going to explain the process. If anybody interested, maybe you can go through this. So here, as I said, here these are the operations which are introduced because it's a video not usable. So here we need to use some different set of operations. So these are the existing 8 operations. So these are the new 8 operations which are introduced because that is a 2D and for images but not suited for the video. So this is the first algorithm which is introduced by using these 3D convolutional operations. So 1 cross 1, 3 cross 3, 5 cross 5, 7 cross 7 and so on. Now you can able to see here different set of applications were studied here because how deeper the algorithm should be. Do we need to go for the pooling or not? At what stage, what type of the conversion mark need to be identified? These all are going to be decided by the NAS algorithm. So if anybody interested, you can reach me. I am going to share the code and all. Okay. Let us continue further with the PPG, that is called photoplastic tomography, where this is going to be helpful for us to detect whether we have a BP or not from our faces. So that human emotions are further extended to this RPPG signal, so that there is a work which we are currently working on it, that is called automatic BP estimation by looking into our face. You switch on your camera and your camera will go to tell you what is your BP reading. Generally we will go to wear the watches, right, to estimate the BP and different sensors. So now how we can able to develop a non-intrusive solution for detecting the BP. So for this we have considered one RPPG signal. So this is how the RPPG signal works. From a video, from a camera, capture the video. Within the video we have a frame sequences. So one frame to another frame there is a micro variations will be there, as I have shown you in the micro motion recognition. Very minute variations will be there, right? So through this you can able to form a graph. That means each frame need to convert process in such a way that each frame has to give a single value. If you are using k number of frames, k values will be there, and there will be a pattern where the changes will be preserved. These particular changes can be considered as a RPPG. So now you can able to see there are different approaches are there. Yeah. So this is one algorithm which is recently published in the WACWI. There is a 4A conference here. So if you might be see here, in order to capture an RPPG signal, we need to develop an algorithm, right? So in the development of an algorithm, it is a video sequence. It's not an image. So in the video sequence, the temporal consistency is important. So whenever there is a mismatch of the temporal consistency, then your model resultant will be differ. So how you can able to balance the temporal consistency? In order to do that, the basic loop skip connection has been introduced here in this particular application. And this is one of the shallow architecture, as I said again. Whenever you are applying on any biometric related application, the architecture will be very small and tiny. So these are all the results of each and every layer, whatever the CNN architecture which we have designed. This is the internal layer visualization. As you can able to see, this is the existing model and this is our proposed model. There is a bit consistency as compared to the conventional. So conventional models are getting disturbed because the temporal variation they could not able to handle, because from a single frame you need to capture a single value. So at the same time you need to make a relation between one frame to another frame. So that consistency is going to play a role. That is the reason there is a special module called, for easy reference, there is a special module called residual. It's not actually residual. So residual based model has been introduced with a specific loss functions. So by integrating these two, the model could able to perform better. As you can able to see, this is our trust is our proposed and orange will be our ground. So these are some different results. As you can able to see, there will be exponential differences are there in the proposed model. If anybody interested, maybe so these are the very few things I would like to introduce and tell you. If anybody interested, you can have a look into it. We also specifically works on the all weather surveillances. This is the data which is gathered from the North La Paz, so India-China border. So this is with the Indian Army, with the help of the Indian Army, this is the data is captured in the left side through images, and this is the process one. Apply some algorithm in such a way, we can able to give a better visualization. Now this is another interesting part. It will take only 1 minute. So as you can able to see, this is the actual live data where there is a haze is about to come. As and when the time goes on, the density of the haze is going to be increased. And the right side you can able to see the clarity of the video. Actually, the algorithm is developed for the images, but we have tested on the video. So as you can able to see, I cannot open the dense level is increasing. Gradually, the dense level of level is increasing, and right side it is actually processing. I hope someone clear, right? So this is the one area where we are working. This is another one in the non-club. This is another interesting area where we are specifically focusing for different surveillance aspects. This is a 10-kilometer distance. It's a one startup, one company in Hyderabad has given this particular input video. This is the output. From the 10-kilometer distance, there is a Birla Mandir in Hyderabad. They have captured. They are actually zooming and trying to capture the data. In this process of zooming, heavy zooming, there will be many artifacts will be there. How you can able to stabilize those artifacts, and at the same time how you can able to enhance the visibility. This is the process one. This is very base results. It can be further fine tuned as well. So this particular model which we have given to one of the industry. Now you might be seeing this S25 is actually Samsung S25, and there is a comparison with the iPhone 16 or iPhone 15 Pro about this particular zooming, right? So this is a motion stabilization aspects are there. In addition, we have our own aerial data sets also. Like this is our own aerial data set. This is an AV data set. That's called airborne data set, where we have specifically expertise. I mean, anybody interested, you can also look into it. If anybody interested to work on this tiny objects part, so the data set is available here. Now, this is a one application which we have developed. That's called Samudra, the deep reaper and the sea clearer. This is the tagline for this. This is the Samudra. You can able to upload any of the image, and the images can be get enhanced, and it will go to give it to us. So just upload the image. The very left side, what of the image you are able to see it. This is the right side will be the. This very basic app which I have developed. It has to be finally fine tuned and make it into commercial. Before going into the commercial, it has to be fine tuned. But this is a very basic for testing. These are some of the snippets. The data which we got from the NIT National Institute of Ocean Technology, and this one will be the processor. This is one real data which we have got it from one of the industry partner. This is the. I hope you are able to see something in the left side, but right side is very much visible, right? Clear, right? This is what called underwater scenario. Whenever there will be an object or any scene in the underwater, there will be a problem in the visibility. How to handle that challenges and how you can able to enhancing it. This is called underwater surveillance part. So where this is the process work. By looking after this, you can able to see that color part. The right side will be completely restored colors, the proper colors, and the visibility will be increased. So this is one application where we are applying. And as I already said, from aerial side, tiny images we can detect. The same fashion, the upgrade the same similar type of algorithm for the fish detection. In the Samudra app as well. The left side will be the given input sample. Very difficult. It will be very difficult for you to detect the fishes, right? Could you able to see any fishes here? It's very difficult to observe in the small fishes in the sea, but AI algorithm can do our task. So right side, this is called the fishes are detected in the different confidence scores. So this one will be another one. So these are small fishes. So the model is able to detect some of the fishes. The model has further need to be refined. So these are some of the models which we have developed and made it available to the research community. If anybody interested, you can look into it. These are some of our partners where our consultancy or sponsored projects which are currently handling. So Ocean Engineering and Yamaha Retail Scan, these are all our industry partners where we have developed the technology. If anybody interested, you can approach us for the data or any products. Thank you. Any questions, guys, please? Any questions, students, please? This is also like a one lecture only, no? Any query? If anybody having any query, you can ask me, and I'll go to share the slide. If anybody interested, you can go through it. This is the actual model which we are going to develop. This is one sample model. Just camera will be on, face will be analyzed in multiple views. From the faces, the RGB signals are going to be generated through that heart rate. Then the BP is going to be estimated. After BP, the resolution level is also going to be estimated. This is the pipeline which is in process. So so far this one, the first one is already done. The second model and the third model is the sketches are pending. So we are working on particular model 2. And as I said in the beginning, multi-modalities, right? Now we have developed one data set that is called 3 lakh videos. Each video is having 40 minutes. Through that we have captured the 5 minutes clips. That is like that we have 3 lakh clips are there, where the video modality faces with a group of people, audio, speaker, text. These all synchronized model we all developed and we may go to release soon. This is one of the largest multi-modal emotion recognition data set. So there will be 3 variations may come. We are in process. The first variations we will go to release once our paper for example. Sorry, sir. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, exactly. We have our RPPG devices and we have our glucometer also there. Sorry, not glucometer, oximeter. So by using this, we are cross-checking our results. Now we are also in the process of developing one of the largest data set for BP estimation. So now that is a pending task for us. We are going to develop one of the RPPG data. We are going to develop a number of subject samples. If anybody interested, we are welcoming you to participate in that. Small goodies also we do. Okay, if anybody have any questions, please you can feel free to discuss. Yeah, please.
Sir, in case of a particular problem, how can I like make a dedicated model? Like, what's the basic blocks?
Very good question. Very good question. Now, how many of you know before selecting an algorithm, how much of the energy you have invested in the data analysis? Data set are milli na bus. How many of you are actually spending your time on the data, understanding about the data? Generally, what we will do, take some data, if the division is there, take some model, apply. If it is giving good results, your task is done, thesis is over. If it is failing, go to the sir and say that sir, model is not performing it, I am not getting good results. This is a common practice. Am I right or wrong? This is very quite common practice because we are not spending our time to analyzing what the data is, what about the property the data is having. That is the first point. Let's assume your data is sensitive as the way I have seen here, where the dynamics are very limited. Then you have to choose an algorithm which is lighter in weight. Okay, the lightweight is nothing but two terms. One is the parameters, another one is architectural depth. So if your data is very sensitive, shallow architecture need to be picked up. Clear? And your data is so dynamic. Natural scenarios are there. Group of people, humans, cats, objects. That means the data is having rich information is present. Then shallow architectures will not help us. They may be underfitted. So you need to go for the larger models. This is the initial comparison of selecting the larger versus smaller versus moderate. Coming to the second important aspect. Within the architecture, what type of the conversion need to be selected? That is the next important question. I'll give you one more hint. I think you might know the MRI and CT scan images, right? Natural image is also there. What is your observation about the MRI and CT scan information versus the natural image? क्या अंतर है? Color का अलावा. मान लीजिए color तो बोलोगे, color का जरूरत नहीं है, but otherwise, other than color, what is the difference between the CT scan versus normal image? Grayscale. Texture variations. In the MRI and CT scan, each and every pixel is important. You cannot able to ignore the boundaries also. But whereas in the natural, you can ignore the boundary, doesn't matter. I am trying to capture the group photo. Why I should be bothered about the boundary? Even though I am using the boundary, doesn't matter because my region of interest, the students or group will be there in the middle of the frame. But whereas in the medical imaging, I cannot able to take that risk. Am I right? Now again, choosing the convolution operations or choosing the architectures are purely dependent upon the application. So the type of an algorithm you are going to picking up for the medical imaging, similar type of architecture can be used for the biometrics, but not for the general. I hope I answered your question, right? Any more questions, guys, please? Feel free to. Whoever might be having these queries, we have two different set of papers in this particular area for the beginners. One is for the review article on the human emotional recognition. This is a term called review, but it's not a review. This is a completely technical oriented architecture designing strategy paper. I hope you're clear. Basic review is X person has done this. It's not like that. The review, the paper which you have published in this particular area, by keeping the freshers in mind, where the objective here is very simple and straightforward. In which scenario, what type of architecture need to be selected? What type of convolutions need to be selected? Kernel size. What are so far we have discussed, right? Kernel operations. These all have been discussed in the one paper. There is another paper. The people who wants to develop a deep algorithms. There is another paper for chain prediction. That's called video analytics. There is one more review article is there in the identified transaction intelligent transportation systems. If anybody interested, you can go through it. There also we have given the detailed explanation about is the data is important or the model is important. If the data is important, what type of data handling is important and how the model is going to get affected. These all the strategies have been given in the another article. Maybe you guys can go through it. Who are new to the deep learning, these two papers may help. Any more question? Any more, please? Feel free, no issue there. Okay, fine then. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir, for your words of wisdom. Now, we would like to request Dr. Pate Koila, sir, to felicitate Dr. Santosh Kumar Viparthi, sir. Now, also, we would like to request Dr. Sanjay Kumar Jana, sir, to felicitate Dr. Santosh Kumar Viparthi, sir.
So very few works in the micro emotions, macro many works, micro very little works because of the lot many challenges. Since last 4-5 years we are working with NIMHANS. NIMHANS Bangalore is a hospital, mental health hospital, to collect the data. Still we are in a process of collecting the data. So it is not that easy to collect this particular micro emotions because these emotions are proportionally and purely used in the lie detection interrogation. I'll give you one example. You might be seeing Hollywood series, web series. In the Hollywood web series, while in the interrogation, they will use different modalities. One is lie detector, another one is face observer, third one is retina observer. Have you ever seen this? So in this, there is a one more modality that is called micro emotion specializer. So only the specialists who are trained are only able to say that whether you are trying, whether you are lying or not. So there is a huge demand is there, and in Indian scenario, we do not have any of the models. Only one model which is so far working, that is called, the model was developed by Paul Ekman, the person who introduced this different scale of emotions. They are only the one who actually developed the solution which is in commercial level. So still we are in the process from the last 4-5 years to develop the commercial product. Paper and is okay, but to develop something in an actual indigenous solution, this data is very much important. So anybody interested, we can think about it.
We would like to call Dr. Ajay Kumar Ray sir on stage to enlighten us with his knowledge. Dr. Ajay Kumar Ray sir would like to interact with all the students. So please be active.
Computer science and electronics.
And electrical also. And how many of you are from third year? Third year again from computer science, electronics and electrical. Okay, that's very good. Now, I mean the whole idea is, I'm really very happy to see that here, this conference, right from the morning you are attending this conference, now all of you? Huh? Okay. So, so that you are attending this conference right from the morning, and you have got a real, trust for knowledge, and you want to really learn a lot in the related areas. Now, electrical, electronics, and computer science, in the earlier days, they were all considered to be. And in the earlier days, we used to term them broadly as electrical sciences group. In the 1940s, 50s, there was no electronics or no computer science. Absolutely no. Now, during those days, there used to be only one department, electrical engineering department. And then gradually, amongst all the IITs, I remember that those days we had only 5 IITs. And those are the 5 old IITs. The oldest being IIT Kharagpur, to which I belong. And then came IIT Bombay. Third IIT was IIT Madras. Fourth IIT was IIT Kanpur. And finally, the fifth IIT was IIT Delhi. For a long time, we did not know about any other big, good institution or IITs in India. And from 1951 to 1962, all the 5 IITs were existent in the country. And other than IIT Kharagpur, all other IITs, they had only one department, that is electrical engineering department. So, electrical, electronics, there was no computer science, and they were all clubbed in the same group. Only in IIT Kharagpur, right from the beginning, that is from 1951, we had a separate department which was known as Electronics and Communication. The whole idea of new department of computer science came in the country in the late 1970s. And those days IIT Kanpur, they took the lead, and immediately followed by that, all other 4 IITs, we started a separate course of program on computer science. That again continued for a long time. In many places in the country, new kind of departments like IT, Information Technology Department, etc. were started. And then very recently we have got in many institutes across the country a separate department which we call as the AI and ML department. That is Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning department. Now since all of you are there together here, let me tell you some of the fundamental things which are common to all these disciplines. What is the most fundamental thing? The most fundamental thing is to understand that we all are living in a space of electromagnetic waves. All across us, we are just simply swimming in electromagnetic space. That is, there's so many, waves around us. We have got simple, the optical wave, that is at different optical frequencies. That is, you know about the optical frequency, light. So by which we can see each other. We have got heat wave, which is mainly infrared and thermal wave. And broadly, from very low frequency to very high frequency, we are having so many waves around us. We have got radio waves. Can we see that? No. We can only see the optical wave, the light, which is in the wavelength of, what is the wavelength of light? In nanometer? Yeah, one of you just stand up and tell. Wavelength of light.
Around 700 nanometer.
Around?
700 nanometer.
Yeah, you just stand up and say a bit loudly.
Around 680 nanometer. 680 to 700 nanometer.
Very good. Around, say, you said 300 to 700, around, very roughly, nanometer. Now that is the only thing we can see. Beyond that, we have got more than 700 or 750 nanometers, we have got infrared. Then comes thermal. So we can see, feel that in the form of heat. Beyond that, can we see anything? No. But then we can, in a indirect way, we can sense them. How can we sense them? Can we sense them through our sensory organs? God has given us sensory organs, 5. We can hear, that is the sound wave. What is the frequency of sound wave? Any idea? And then there is a very high frequency sound wave also, which goes in frequency domain to a very high value. So what is this wavelength? What is this, sound wave wavelength? Yeah, so we can see that. We can't see, we can hear the sound. For example, the human voice frequency. This varies from about, say, 30 to about 3300, say 30K, 3.3K kilo hertz. That's the frequency range. Beyond that, we cannot hear even. Then, using our sensory organs, we can't sense much. But see, if there's any little bit of, tremor on the sort of, on the earth surface, which we call as earthquake, many, small level animals or creatures, they can understand much earlier. So a lot of other animals, living creatures, their sensory organs are much better than the human ones. So how is man the most important animal on this earth? So we have got 5 sensory organs, but then their sensory organ limit is very small. We cannot sense many things. But what makes us so important, human beings? There is the human biological neural network. Remember that it is the biological neural network which is in not only in our brain, but it is in our sensory organs, on our spines, on the motor organs, and we have got trillions of such cells in our body. So many of you have studied biology. Remember that in your generation, when you will come up as an engineer, it will be extremely important to have the basic knowledge on biology. Because whatever you will be learning in maybe AI and ML and in computing, you have to, the whole focus is whether a machine can be designed which is better than a human being, which can do the things which a human being cannot do. Can a machine think in a way we the human beings think? Can a machine perceive in a way we the human beings perceive? This is an age-old question, but it is a real question, and a lot of people involved in some of the most important forms of research, they are working towards finding a solution in this way. Now, human neural network, the biological neural network, the doctors, they knew, the neurophysiologists, but not much. But a group of scientists, one of them, his name was McCulloch, he was a mathematician, and the other person was Pitts. Now these two people, they sat down together, and it was these two people who for the first time could give the model of a human neuron, how the neuron in our neural network works. You know, it is in which year? 1942. 1942 means it is 84 years back. Imagine 84 years back, all these concepts have come. That was the starting. Those of you who are in computer science, you will be knowing a lot about the Turing machine. I think that these are all taught in your coursework. What is Turing's hypothesis? And then you will learn, we'll talk more about it later on, about the different developments which took place in this area of AI and ML. Now, it is very important to understand that electronics, electrical and computer science, what is the commonality of the three? Commonality is all three groups, they will have to deal with these different types of signals. These signals may be audio signals, video signals. Just now there was a very good talk on image and video signal analysis. Now, Professor Santosh, he described about how to detect the differences of the facial features. He also mentioned a very important thing, that is how to do the surveillance, one of their works. And then that surveillance was underwater surveillance. So suppose here in Ravangla, on the early morning when you are moving on the roads, many a times throughout the year, at least for several months, there will be lot of fog and mist on the roads. It is there in many states of India. Now, how do you drive a car? You can't see anything in front of you, isn't it? So it's a limitation. The driver can't see anything. So interesting part of it is that in the olden days, olden means hardly 25 years back or 30 years back, we used to do research in this way. That is, why we can't see something on a foggy day in front of you? We cannot see anything because of the fact that suppose you are standing just maybe that 10 meters or 20 meters away from me on the same road. But there's so much of fog on the road, I can't see who is there. But you exist there, I can't see. Why? So that is because of the fog. What is the fog? It is an atmospheric disturbance. So physicists, they thought that if we can model that fog, understood? That is, the mathematically, if we can describe that fog, so fog is a disturbance, then we know that your actual image plus the disturbance due to fog has come to me, and that disturbance is in the form of a noise. And then I can see something, but I do not know what is that object. Who is that person? Or is he a man or an animal? What it is. So interestingly then, in terms of all of you are doing in electronics and also in electrical and also in computer science, something called signal processing. What do you do in signal processing? You do a very fundamental thing which you call as filtering, isn't it? What do you filter? What is meant by filtering? Low pass filter, high pass filter, band pass filter, isn't it? You have done it in your laboratories, isn't it? All of you have done it, no? Second year and third year also. Now this filtering, what do you filter? Anything which is added to the signal. What is meant by signal? Signal means the actually some electromagnetic wave which carries some meaning. That is a signal. Signal means that is good. And what is noise? Noise means that it is added with the signal and it creates a problem. We cannot understand what is the signal. So what is done is, if the noise is of very high frequency, you say that okay, let us cut off the noise. By what? By low pass filter, isn't it? And if the signal is of high frequency, noise is of low frequency, then you have a high pass filter, remove the noise. That's how you do it. But how do you know what is the signal? Have you ever asked yourself, how do you know? Because in the books it's written that signal plus noise is what comes to you, and you have to filter it out. Now, how do you know that noise is added with the signal? Have you thought about it? Is it that always signal is added with the noise? Can the noise interact with the signal in any other way? Not necessarily that it has to be added. Other than addition, what is the other mathematical operation by which the noise can interact with the signal? Signal means good things which we want. Noise means bad thing which we want to reject. So how do you know that, okay, how the noise interacts with the signal? In the books, it's written that, okay, you have to do low pass filter, band pass filter. Why? Because they are added with the signal. But remember, always signals do not get added. Do you know what other method signal can interact with noise? Any idea? By the process of convolution. You know what is convolution operation? Today, tonight, you should go back to your hostel and check what is convolution operation. Remember that this convolution is very important science, because in the just before me, Professor Santosh, when he was giving his, he was describing his paper, many times, and even in the morning also, there were references of convolutional neural network. Maybe that many of you CNN, many of you may be using lots of packages, library functions are available. But if somebody asks you that what is convolution, you do not know. You only know that, okay, there is something called convolution neural network, CNN, and CNN can be used for classifying the signal or pattern or whatever it may be. Isn't it? That's all that you need, you know. Am I right or not? So tonight in the hostel, you take it down. What you have to do? Take down, all of you, that the meaning of convolution and most importantly, how the convolution, the noise is convolved with the signal. What is the process of this operation, that is convolved noise, convolution noise? Now, if the noise is not added, your simple filtering that you are doing in your laboratories will be effective only when the signal is added with the noise. You can filter out that noise. But if the signal is convolved with the noise, second important thing is, what is noise? How do you represent a noise? All the noises are not of the same type. There are different types of noises. Some noises are referred in terms of the frequency of the signal, of the wave. So that is, as frequency can give you the noise. But then it's important to understand the nature of the noise. So once you know the nature of the noise, and once you know that this noise is convolved with the signal, then what is the operation which will be required for getting rid of that noise? It's known as deconvolution. So one is convolution, and to get rid of that noise, you need deconvolution. So tonight you have to find out how does a noise get convolved with a signal and how the noise can be separated out by deconvolution operation. Okay, any question from here? Am I right or not? Second important thing is that in nature, many times we say that we are living in a nature which is multi-dimensional. Sometimes we say, like Professor also mentioned, that it is multimodal, isn't it? Like say, multimodal camera. Have you heard of that? Multimodal camera? That camera, what it does is, in a satellite, it's known as multispectral camera. In the satellites, many times, special types of cameras are kept. And that camera, what does it capture? It does not capture only the optical light, because from the sun, radiation comes on the earth's surface. That is reflected back. Okay? And then that reflected signal, it contains different types of frequencies. Some are in the optical range, some are in the thermal range, some are in the, in the deep infrared, some are in the near infrared range. So, in a certain camera, there are so many sensors. Can you think of a camera? In our camera, which we are using in our mobile phone, do we have many sensors? No. Can it sense many types of signals? No. What can it sense? In our mobile phone, you are taking the photograph. Can this mobile phone take the photograph of an object which is very hot? Can it distinguish that, okay, this is a hot object? No. Or for that matter, for example, you are working in a circuit, because all of you are working in a circuits lab. Many times the circuit elements, they get heated, the hardware. So there is no way that a standard optical camera can understand that it is heat wave which is coming out. Now, how to do it? You need a multispectral camera. That means a camera which can acquire not only the optical information, but heat information and infrared information, etc. Now, these informations are obtained in different frequency bands. Maybe that it can, is very interesting, that when the optical ray from the sun's rays, radiation, falls on the surface of the earth, then depending on the nature of the, because you are living in a complete hilly area with forest, hardly few concrete buildings, and still fewer roads. Now, if you want to take a photograph from a satellite, one of the things is the satellite photographs, usually they can take the photographs in different frequency bands. But then, any camera will have another important thing, which is known as if you want to purchase some camera, the first thing that you have to know is what is the resolution of the camera. In the earlier days, maybe 50 years back, we were having our satellites fitted, even those satellites are still there. We are using, like a Landsat, that's an American satellite. It can take the photograph of the land. But then, there the satellites have got the advantage. For example, today it goes over Sikkim. Then after few days, very precisely, suppose this periodicity is say 9 days. Then after 9 days, it will again come back over Sikkim, Rabanga. So every 9 days, your images you are getting. So for example, Tista, river Tista flows. Now today there is a flood on the river Tista bed. Okay, and then the satellite can take the photograph. After 9 days, when the same satellite moves over Rabangla, over Sikkim, it can take another photograph. If you take the difference, then you can find out how much area has been inundated by Tista flood. It's very interesting. So these are standard things which you can write a code, a program, to find out that how much area has been inundated by this. Now, the satellites, it can capture the images in different spectral bands. From that again, you can find out or you can distinguish between the different types of trees. If, for example, there are some pine trees, then their reflectance will be different from maybe deodar trees, maybe shal trees, maybe if there's any mahogany trees, maybe if there are any shagun trees. Each of the species, their reflectance characteristics are different. So, depending on the camera, at what frequency you are getting capturing the images, you can tell that, okay, here in this Ravangla area, on the hilltops, you have got these species of forestry, the trees. How much amount of, for example, the snowfall has been there over the Ravangla, our hills, you can always find out. Now, these are all important issues and things. So, you need to do these things from multiple aspects. Number one, for example, you need an electronic sensor, multispectral scanner or camera. Who will make that? All electrical, electronics, computer science all together. How? That is, it contains so many different parts. Have you ever thought that this camera, how can it take three colored images means what? RGB, red, green, blue, isn't it? You are getting whenever I am taking your colored photograph. Have you ever thought that how does it find out how much amount of red information, how much amount of green information and how much amount of blue information is there in this image? How? For knowing that, you need 3 sensors, isn't it? R, G and B. But how many sensors you have got in your camera? You have got, at a point, you need 3 sensors, because at every point you can find out what is the value of R, what is the value of G, what is the value of B. How can you make a camera sensor where at each pixel you have got 3 different sensors? Red sensor, green sensor, blue sensor. Are you getting the point? Whatever I am discussing?
Yes, sir.
Understanding or not?
Yes.
interesting thing is, how do you know whether a particular point, how much will be red and how much amount of one pixel, picture cell? You say that, okay, R is having value 20, G is having value 5, and blue is having value, say 12. How do you come at that, these three values? So you have to think about that, how you will have to design the camera. Think about it. See, the whole idea of me telling you is not just to shower lots of information on you, but to tell you that whatever we look around, there are so many problems and so many questions which should come to you automatically. But then we always take them for granted. You know that, okay, I will purchase a camera from the market, and with every mobile they will provide me a camera, and I will be getting the colored image from here. Nobody bothers to know that how the colored images are obtained. So this is important information. Yes?
By sensing intensity of the image.
Sensing?
Intensity of the image. That how intense red is, how intense green is, or blue is.
But then how? For example, at a particular point, how much amount of red or how much amount of green, how do you find it out? How does the camera know? Camera is giving you the results, but RGB these three values. But while designing, are you using an array of photosensors, isn't it? You need a photosensor which will be sensing. Now at every point, can you put a red sensor, a blue sensor and a green sensor? Then? Correlation, good. What kind of correlation? Now, yeah, you are somewhat near, but correlation, there is always a correlation between two adjacent pixels. That is fine, but then I wanted to tell you that it is not exactly correlation, but then this particular point, you know, there is a pattern which is known as Bayer's pattern. You can write it down, B-A-Y-E-R, Bayer's pattern. Now, Bayer's pattern is a very interesting pattern. Do you have any colored, can I write it down? So, Bayer's pattern is something like this. Suppose it's a two-dimensional matrix you have got. The first point, it is red, sensor. Next point is green sensor, red, green. Next point is blue sensor, B. Again next point is green sensor. Again next point is red sensor. Now remember, our eyes, it is more sensitive to green. In the entire optical spectrum, the human eyes are more sensitive to green light compared to red and blue. So, whenever this gentleman, scientist Bayer, he has suggested a pattern where he said that you make one such, say, two-dimensional sensor array, where the first sensor array will be red, next one green, then blue, then again green. Green will come twice compared to red and green. And like that, every row you make those sensors. So at every point there is only one sensor, either red or green or blue. So you you are getting only one information, but the other informations have to be, this operation is known as extrapolation. Color interpolation rather. What you said is, you have given a good thought, thank you. But then this operation is known as interpolation. Tonight you go back to your hostel and see the color interpolation strategies in a camera. Okay? And then try to find out on your own, while chatting with your friends, you try to find out nature, because here you have got so much of nature around you and so many problems. Remember that this is the best place to think about something very unusual. Give more space in that kind of a innovative thinking. I must say that your director, Professor Govind, in fact today I went to many laboratories and classrooms. He is an amazing, he has got a sense of how in such a short space you can accommodate so many things. How a new building can come up here. Ordinary people, they will not have any such idea at any time. Suppose if you are given one small big hall, you give that hall to all of you, to all of us, and you tell them that okay, you make use of this. Professor Govind your director will come out with a solution, but he will make this whole, maybe that tomorrow, if it's needed, even this hall he can convert it into some 2 or 3 or 4 different utilities, and where the stairs will come, etc. What is this problem known as? It is known as optimization. Remember that whether you are an electronics engineer, and please sit down, very good, you have given a good answer, or an electrical engineer, or a computer science, or mechanical, or civil, whatever it may be. Remember, engineering means you have to optimize a lot of things. And many other NITs, I was at one point of time also additional, I had the responsibility of being the director of other NITs. Like say NIT Agartala or Silchar, if you go, they got huge amount of space on that land. So they gave it to the government they made all the big buildings, etc. So absolutely you do not need any brain work. But I can tell you that to come out with a solution in Sikkim, in Ravangla, in such a short area, it's really very commendable. I do not know whether you have given a thought to it, that how, because in one day when I was going through all the parts, I was only thinking that how this idea can come to somebody's mind. Remember that in computer science, in all your algorithms or in electronics or even in electrical, they will have to do some optimization strategies. Without optimization, there cannot be any algorithm. Many of you, maybe that the teacher has told that, okay, you use ant colony optimization. So without understanding, the students, they come up with a solution with ant colony optimization. Today's world is moving in a completely, I must say that, in a very, very wrong direction. The students, they can complete their project report in 4 days' time. even one who does not know what is convolution, he can come up with a deep learning solution in 4 days' time, because lots of now you know that ChatGPT is there, you don't need to know much of a programming, it can do everything, it can do programming even on your behalf. But then, my dear students, think about this. You must develop a very analytic mind. Do not neglect programming. Do not neglect innovative thinking. Because the Western power, or maybe China, those who are really considered as the advanced states. Every year, I spend a lot of time in America, because this year also I will go in June. So at least for 2 months every year I will be in America. In Silicon Valley I have to spend a lot of time. And Silicon Valley is a place where everything in the world happens. And interestingly, I have got a lot of my IIT students, including, you may think, oh, Sundar Pichai is so... Sundar Pichai was my student. I was also his hostel warden. He was from IIT Kharagpur. So I have seen them grow like you, from first year, how they grew up. So it's nothing big for any IITian, that whether it is a Texas Instruments CEO or Intel CEO or Google CEO and that kind of stuff, you also will be like them. Do not think that, okay, we are from NIT Sikkim and we possibly will not be able to do it. Remember that now you are in second year, third year, and remember that you have got immense capability. You can do anything that you want, but you need that resolution in mind. You need to do lots of hard work, even during the student days, and you need to have a very innovative and analytical mind. Think about, ask questions yourselves. You need not ask questions to anybody else. Try to get the answer. And what I was discussing this morning with some of your professors, heads and all, that is extremely important to study in a historic or evolutionary fashion. Remember that in science, there are 3 very important concepts. One is the concept of evolution, in my opinion, the most important concept. Unfortunately, I do not know in CRT, they had removed that part of evolution. I really do not know such a stupid decision from the school syllabi, but then you must know what is evolution, because everything evolves. Whether it's human brain, it evolves. Whether your understanding, it evolves. So evolution is the most important part. Second important part is relativity. To think about that, okay, everything is relative with respect to each other. And then everything should be considered from the perspective of optimization. Remember also that everything around us is nonlinear in nature. You may ask that what is nonlinear? We do not understand. So go through, you need not ask anybody. All of you have got plenty of material with you. Google is there. And Google has given that liberty for all of you. You have got now ChatGPT. You get the answer of any question. Maybe that some of the answers may be wrong. It just doesn't matter. But majority of the things you can. And you have got so much of information available to you. Remember that try to create your own question. Do you ask questions yourself? Or any question, does it come to your mind? How many students will have lots of questions, like Professor was repeatedly asking you that any question, any speaker who will come from outside will ask you after the talk is over. Any question, and then when he or she finds that there is no question from the student side, so what can he becomes, as if everything has gone into I square R loss. You know what is I square R loss? You don't know? Because those of you who are, some of you are in electrical or in electronics. Yeah, heat loss. So I square R loss means it's a very important kind of loss, even in electrical circuits. So I square R loss, there was a very interesting story. There was one professor in the University of Illinois. He was a very, very knowledgeable professor. He did a lot of research and all, and he used to take his electrical engineering course, and a lot of students used to attend that course, and students used to call him as I square R. His name was I. Robbins. Okay, so that gentleman used to think that, okay, my name is I. Robbins. So students, they have made a shortened form I square R. But imagine that the day he retired, he came to know that throughout his life, whatever he has taught, it has all become I square R loss. Students have not understood anything. So that's really a very tragic thing in a teacher's life. I was just joking. But then, do not, just keep on. There must be a lot of questions. In IITs, whichever course I had taken, there used to be a marks that if you ask good questions, you get additional marks. Remember that knowledge has progressed only out of the questioning. Giving answer is as important as asking a question. Gita was not written, or it was not that Sri Krishna had, in the word field, had given a lot of sermons. For every answer, Arjuna has given a question. Arjuna Uvacho, you will see in Gita. And Bhagavan Uvacho. I do not understand Sanskrit, but then there used to be a question, and question is very, very fundamental. So without questioning, there cannot be any knowledge, cannot progress, because the teacher doesn't know that how much you have consumed, how much you have understood. So this is very fundamental. And so out of today's, whatever you have learned right from the morning, so your tomorrow's job will be, tonight you go back, everybody must be staying in the hostel, somewhere inside the campus or just outside the campus. So, and there must be internet facilities also. So today, whatever discussions have taken place, lots of discussions right from the morning, but nobody has taken down whatever has been discussed. Nobody has got any notebook. Nobody is taking down, just as if, okay, we are attending whatever comes here, we listen, and then something we'll remember, majority part it will go as a loss. What the fun? The institute professors, they organize this program. Have the habit of writing down. Tomorrow, all of you must come with a... Are you coming like this in your class? You must be taking down the whatever the teacher says. So this is not a non-serious thing. Today, right from the morning, you spend so much of time, not just like that, but then a lot of professors have discussed so many important issues. And then you should have taken note of. It's not that you will understand everything out of it, but at least, try to jot it down. this is, remember, one of the major limitations of Indian students. Major limitations, it's not you alone. I do not know why it has come, but our students in India, we are not in the habit of writing. Write down whatever is being talked about. As a matter of fact, I learned while I was working in USA, because I had the opportunity, these are all opportunity comes in some people's lives. So I worked with the Intel people, I worked with Texas Instruments people, and then I still remember that during my working there, then on our first meeting, I was the head of the computer vision group. And in my first meeting there, which I was attending, I found that, okay, I went there, everybody else went with paper and pencil. Americans, they are very good at it. And then when I was telling them something, everybody will note down. And I found myself to be the lone person who did not carry anything. I felt ashamed, I must say. It's not only that, okay, you are not carrying it. Even many times I used to carry, even in IITs. But then it was a big learning for me. In industries, it's extremely important. Whatever small things are being discussed, write it down. Write down this is a date, this is a time, and then who said this, and then keep that as a note. Remember that this noting is very important. Observation is very important. Many people I have seen, youngsters, school children in the United States, they do lots of projects. Many of these projects are even better than our BTech projects. At 11, 12 standard, many of them, their universities, they teach they give 2 months summer internship to some of the best schools in California, or in Boston, or in Chicago. So in many university towns, this is one of the important, cultural habits they have grown. So from tomorrow you will remember this. Everybody whosoever will attend must come with your regular lecture note paper, pen, and whosoever says anything important, you need not write down everything, but then the important points, whatever comes to you, write it down. Whether you understand it or you do not understand, doesn't matter. If you do not understand, if you haven't understood, then after the program is over, call that teacher and tell, sir, can you help me a little bit? And otherwise you can see in the internet that, okay, that professor said this, let me go to the net and let me see what it is. So anyway, so what out of these almost now 1 hour's talk, maybe that majority, so what I told you, number 1 point is, remember the meaning of evolution, that every idea grows out of evolution, it evolves, and a particular subject. For example, the Fourier transform. In mathematics class you are doing, you know how to find the Fourier transform fx. The teacher might have told you that, okay, you find out that this is fx is equal to some polynomial function. You have to know that what is a polynomial function. And remember that every mathematical function, it has got a meaning in real life. It has got a physical meaning. Once you understand that, after writing an equation, that there is a meaning, then it will be a real joy. And you now know every bit of it. And mathematics is only just some symbols, and for expressing a lot of concepts, lot of difficult concepts, you can write it only in the form of a equation, one equation or several equations. So the teacher comes to the class, in mathematics class, So the teacher writes that fx into e to the power minus j 2 pi ux dx integral minus infinity to plus infinity. You also write in your notebook. So do not write anything without understanding. You should write, but after that put a note of interrogation, not understood. You may not understand. And do not accept anything without understanding. It's very interesting, and that's how the Mahabharata was written. Do you know that story? Who wrote Mahabharata? Vedavyash. Vyasdev. So Vyasdev, when he had those ideas about the different things which will be collated together to make Mahabharata, he was looking for somebody who could write it. So he did not find anybody who could write it. So finally he found Lord Ganesh. So Vyasdev went to Lord Ganesh and asked him that I would like to write this. I will keep on narrating and then you have to write. So Lord Ganesh, you know what he said? He said, yes, I am ready, but I have got a question. I have got a constraint, a condition. So Vyasdev said, what is the condition? Ganesh said that you cannot stop. You have to keep on telling me, I will keep on writing it. Now such a big voluminous book, at one go, how can he keep on narrating and Lord Ganesh will keep on writing? He said that once you stop, I will not write. Okay? Now, then Vyasdev said, okay, agreed. But I also have got one condition. So Lord Ganesh said that, what is your condition? Vyasdev said, you cannot write anything whose meanings you have not understood. So whenever he was going out of ideas, he will use some very difficult Sanskrit slokas and Ganesh will not understand the meaning of that and he will take more time to understand and Vyasdev will have some free time so that he can think about the next chapter or whatever. So this is another important learning, that write it down, but then you should write that, okay, I haven't understood this. Note it down, all the observations, note down that how to understand, learn how to learn. There are even techniques for learning, and that's how the whole issue of today's this conference, whether it is AI or soft computing or robotics, is the robots also learn how to learn. So we'll discuss again tomorrow. It's in fact it's কতক্ষণ হলো?
1 hour.
Any question again? Good. I'm not old, so it will be tough.
Sir, I used to write everything. Means, you tell that if I haven't understood anything, you should write it down and you should find the meaning of it. So I used to do it, sir, but as we are BTech students, we have a lot of information. And there is a human constraint, there is a human limitation of our brain also, and a physical limitation also, that we have to sleep. We have only 24 hours a day. And sir, we have 6 subjects. Means we have a lot of information. And there is also a passion also, like I have also many passion that I used to take information about it. So I cannot write everything about it. I cannot understand everything about it. And we today have a digital world. We have internet connection, and we have a vast amount of information. So once for example, if I went to understand AI, so it will take me back to agents, like to intelligence. Now, if I will go, what is intelligence? It will give me the philosophical concept of it. It will give me the psychological concept of it. So, means, how do I stop? that where I have to stop. Because sir, I also have a limitation, but I have a curiosity that I have to understand everything. But I also know it that I cannot understand everything. So sir, when I have to stop?
Yes, Saket is one of the best questions. Very good. And it's only because to inspire the young minds like you that I'm standing here for such a long time. Very good question. That is how to learn and where to stop. See, there's immense amount of wealth of information, but along this information, some of it is signal, large part of it is unfortunately noise. In the internet, what you get, large part of it is noise. So how to detect that this is noise and this is signal? That's what, so that you know what to look for, not that everything is to be looked for. So this is a very important question which he has raised. So I think the teachers will have to again think about that how much we have to give them. And as he very rightly said, that 6 subjects, 6 subjects, 4 labs. And there is a lot of redundancy in these subjects. You know what is redundancy? A lot of things overlapping. One subject, whatever you are learning, is connected with whatever you are learning in another subject. Many times the students, in fact in my old institute, that is IST Shibpur, I used to tell the teachers, for example, the mathematics teacher doesn't care to know that what the electrical engineer teacher is teaching. And I found the students are learning the same thing in 3 different classes. I told, that's why all the teachers have to sit down together, that where is the redundancy, and that has to be, because it's not only here we have got very little, limited manpower. Professor's strength is a little bit less. I came to know that a lot of new professors will come, so that when you are in second year, third year, when you will be in 4th year, you will get a lot of professors. Now this is a very important and a very valid point. But remember that you have to learn the art of learning. Number 1, suppose in a certain class, if you find that, okay, this subject you know already, then it's known as reinforced learning. If for the second time the same thing is being repeated, then your brain gets reinforced with the earlier learning, isn't it? And that is good for your brain. More is the reinforcement, the better is the foundation of learning. That is number 1. Number 2, second point is, there are a lot of things which you are learning, because after all, in 2025, it's not only that you only acquire the information and then nobody cares for how much information you have got. Remember, what is more important, listen very careful, is not that you may not know a lot of things. You do not know a lot of things. But the art of gathering the information, the art of solution, finding the solution of a problem. So, make your mind think more than acquiring information. Acquiring information, those were all old concepts. It's not that you will be bombarded with lot of information, you have to learn it, keep it in mind, go to the exam center, vomit it out in the question paper, in the answer script, get the good grades and forget about it. No. The whole idea of learning is to create a mind which is intuitive. Try to develop the techniques of solution of a problem. Try to think about you will do more good to your brain if you try to think in a way, because there are a lot of important areas where we say that human thinking should not be linear. There are a lot of questions whose answers are not linear. So, non-linear way of learning is very interesting. You know what is linear way and non-linear way of learning? Try to learn in a way which is not only just you have got a lot of information. If I ask you some question from whatever is in your brain, you answer them, and if you do not have it in your brain, you say, I do not know. Not like that. So questions also should be in a way which will provoke your mind to think and think. Give more stress on thinking. Try to find the solution and try to understand that meaning or the conceptual learning part of it, not information gathering. Information gathering is important, but much more important in today's world because information is there everywhere. Many times you need not memorize lot of formulae, lot of things which require your memory. Memory is very important, but then more important thing is to make your brain work towards finding a solution. Maybe that at a later date, I will be sending you lots of very interesting questions, and you should try to put your riddle है ना, puzzle है ना, try to solve them. And from all that you are studying, there are a lot of things which may come up. You may know that, okay, there are constraints. You are in which discipline? Computer science. And in computer science and engineering, you are in third year. You must be knowing that, okay, there are a large number of algorithms which are known as NP complete, polynomial type and non-polynomial. Now, do you know that which algorithms are of P type and which are NP?
Sir, those algorithms which we can, means if you have the algorithm, if you apply to a problem, if they can solve that problem in polynomial time, they are NP. But if you have to find the algorithm, and for finding that algorithm, if you are taking non-polynomial time, but if you know the algorithm and you are solving a problem, they are called NP hard.
Yeah, so that polynomial and non-polynomial, these two types of concepts, you have to first understand that why it is important. The computer science students, you have to first learn about it. And then how to find out the computational complexity. Polynomial complexity or exponential complexity. And suppose you have found an algorithm, so you have to know that whether it can be solved by an algorithm which is of polynomial complexity, because if you can do it, it's good. So given any algorithm, can I convert it to another algorithm which can solve it in polynomial time, not in exponential time? How do you find out those kinds of algorithms? Now, not the simple algorithms like your whatever you are learning in the class, say for example, the sorting, searching, or maybe the depth theoretic problems, etc. Start with the problems which are there next room. Start with the problem where just you see that new building or mechanical labs. Today only I visited. That you have been given a huge, I remember that it was only a big store. Professor Govil, your director, he did not really go through the algorithmic part of the solution, but he had that in mind, how I will solve this problem. That means where to find, and I was really amazed that many of these things, these are all his innovations. So you have to have that kind of a knowledge as your background knowledge. But then how to do it as a computer science student? So try to find out the algorithm for writing you have got a lot of code optimization. You know about that in compiler design. You do the code optimization, because whatever codes you are writing, programs, many of them they need optimization. The storage complexity has to be reduced. The computational complexity has to be reduced, the average case complexity, the worst case complexity, everything has to be optimized. So take a real life problem and try to optimize them. Try to find out that what are the constraints and how to write that, how to write it in the form of constraints. 1, 2, 3, these are the constraints. So very interesting. For example, those of you who are in electronic sciences or electrical sciences, many of you, tomorrow we have got, say, Professor Jana in electronics department. They are working on VLSI. Today, the Tatas, they have started yesterday night only I was discussing. So one of my students, he was the CEO of TI Bangalore, Texas Instruments. Texas Instruments, those days it was the most lucrative job in the entire country. So TI Bangalore, he was the youngest CEO, Dr. Bobby Mitra. So Bobby, he talks with me every week almost, at least every 14 days. So he told me that he has been invited by Tatas to start 2 fab units. You may be knowing that in India, 2 in Gujarat and 1 in Assam, they are going to start the semiconductor manufacturing, the IC manufacturing, 2 fab labs. Now that's a good thing. It will take a lot of time. But then Bobby told me that this will be for the first time that they will be employing all the algorithms and all the steps should involve AI. So it's very interesting that AI being employed even in the manufacture of chips. Not only just you have a standard, the set of VLSI design things, but in the fabrication in the board, in the fabrication stages also, you need to employ AI. Now that's you have to know about, space optimization. Even when they are doing the VLSI design, they are doing it, space optimization, power optimization. When they are coming out, electronics engineers, when they are coming out with the design of a particular chip, it's very important to know that, how much amount of power consumption, because after all, that is a major thing. It must not consume a lot of power. So, importantly, these are the constraints. So, you should know how to write the constraints in the proper format, fashion. Constraint 1, C1. Constraint 2, C2. And for different problems, the constraints are different. Write it in your own language, English language. Then try to write it in a mathematical language. That becomes the real understanding. And then try to find out how to get the solution. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Very good. More than clapping, I would be very happy if all of you become real assets for the country. in making a self-reliant India tomorrow. Good, and we have got all the blessings for all of you. Thank you.
Start streaming.